It's 20 to midnight on a train somewhere between two cities. Two strangers are sitting side by side, and one of them has just started talking. She has given him her name. And then, without deciding to, something else. Something her husband of 19 years does not know. He doesn't react much. He nods. He asks one quiet question. And she tells him the rest of it. 40 minutes later the train slows into her station. She gathers her bag, says something like "take care," and steps down onto the platform. They will never meet again. She has just given the truest account of her life to a man whose surname she never learned. So here is the question we'll follow through this film. Why do we hand our secrets to people we will never see again, and keep them from the people who have known us all our lives? It has a name, this. Psychologists call it the stranger on the train phenomenon, and it has been noticed for about as long as there have been trains. It happens at airport gates. In hospital corridors at 3 in the morning. In the back of taxis. In the cold corner outside a wedding neither guest wanted to attend. The pattern never changes. A stranger. An ending already scheduled. And a truth that has never once been said out loud. In 1975, a social psychologist named Zick Rubin decided to watch it happen on purpose. He sent researchers into the departure lounge at Boston's Logan Airport to sit down beside people waiting for their flights and simply talk. Each one carried something to give away. A small thing about themselves, or a large one. Then they waited to see what came back. What came back was a mirror. Told something small, the stranger answered small. Told something intimate, the stranger answered intimate. Disclosure has an exchange rate. We don't decide how much to reveal. We match. Not without limits. Give too much too fast, and the exchange breaks. The stranger pulls back from a gift they cannot possibly match. But look at what the airport is doing in that experiment. It isn't a neutral room. It's a room made entirely out of departures. Everyone in it is going. Every conversation inside it has a boarding call already built into the end of it. And that, it turns out, is the permission. Not the stranger. The leaving. Because a secret costs nothing where it cannot be carried. Tell a man on a train, and the secret gets off at the next station and dies there. Tell a friend, and it moves into their house. It sits at their table. It is there at Christmas. This is the arithmetic we're running, in a fraction of a second, without ever seeing the sum. The question was never, can I trust this person? It was always, what will this person do with it tomorrow? And a stranger has no tomorrow with us. Which makes them, for about 40 minutes, the safest person alive. There's a second thing the stranger doesn't have. It may matter more. They have no picture of us. Nothing to update. No version of us that needs protecting. Everyone who has known us for years is carrying a portrait. Assembled slowly, out of the things we let them see. The good father. The one who's got it together. The friend who is doing fine. The portrait isn't a lie, exactly. It's a curation. We hung it ourselves, one careful choice at a time. And the secret is the thing that doesn't fit in the frame. To tell them isn't to say a sentence. It's to take the picture down off their wall and hand them a different one. And then to live, from that day onward, inside the new one. So we don't. We hold it. And the holding, we tell ourselves, is a kindness. The stranger on the train has no wall to hang anything on. There is nothing to revise, because there is no record. We can simply be, for 40 minutes, the whole of what we are. And then the train stops, and we are strangers again, and nothing has to survive it. But safety only explains why we could. It doesn't explain why we do. Because nobody is forcing her. The silence was always available. She had ridden that train 100 times and said nothing at all. Something wants out. And it wants out badly enough to overrule 19 years of not saying it. In 2012, 2 Harvard researchers, Diana Tamir and Jason Mitchell, put a price on that wanting. They offered people the same choice, over and over. Answer a question about someone else, and earn a little money. Or answer a question about yourself, and earn less. People took less money. Again and again, they paid for the privilege of talking about themselves. And when they did, the scan lit up the reward system. The same circuitry that answers to food, to money, to warmth. Telling isn't a release of pressure. It's a pleasure. We are built to want to be known, roughly the way we are built to want to be fed. Which reframes the silence. Every unsaid thing isn't something we are keeping. It's a hunger we are refusing. And the refusing is work. James Pennebaker spent a career finding that the body keeps a tally of what the mouth won't say. He asked people to write, 15 minutes a day, about the thing they had never told anyone. Not to send it. Just to write it. In the months that followed, they went to the doctor less. Something in the holding had been costing them. The writing had stopped the charge. So the secret isn't a stone in a pocket. It's a bill, arriving quietly, for years. And the stranger on the train is the only creditor we have ever found who takes the payment and then vanishes. Now here is where the whole thing turns over. Because we file this away as the lesser thing. A confession that doesn't count. Intimacy's cheap imitation, bought at night, from someone who owed us nothing. It isn't. It's the real thing. It is only brief. In 2014, Nicholas Epley and Juliana Schroeder went down into the Chicago commute to test the point. They asked commuters to do the unthinkable. Talk to the stranger in the next seat. All the way in. First they had them predict how it would go. Everyone knew the answer. Awkward. Intrusive. The worst journey of the week. It was the best one. The commuters who talked to a stranger arrived happier than the ones who kept to themselves. Including the ones who had been certain they would hate it. And when they looked for why the rest of us don't, the answer was almost tender. We think the stranger doesn't want to hear it. Epley's group found the same misreading at the deep end. Paired with strangers and pushed to talk about real things, people braced for awkwardness and found connection instead. They had underestimated, every time, how much a stranger would care. We are not surrounded by people who don't want to know us. We are surrounded by people who think we don't want to know them. Which leaves the hard part of this. And it's waiting at home. Because if the stranger is safe because they are leaving, then the reverse is also true, and it isn't comfortable. The people we love are unsafe precisely because they're staying. 19 years of marriage isn't a reason to tell him. It's the reason not to. Every year of a shared life adds weight to the thing unsaid. The longer the silence has held, the more the telling would break. So the silence holds. This is the quiet trap under a long marriage, a long friendship, a family. The more there is to lose, the less can be said. And the less that is said, the more carefully we are loved for a person we are only partly being. So we carry it to the people who cannot cost us anything. The night nurse. The taxi driver. The man in the aisle seat. We give the truest thing we own to whoever is about to disappear with it. And it works. That's the strangest part of all of it. She got off that train lighter than she got on. Somewhere tonight there is a man who knows the truest sentence a woman ever said out loud, and he couldn't pick her out of a crowd. He has probably already forgotten it. That isn't a failure of the arrangement. That is the arrangement. The forgetting is the whole service being rendered. You have done this. A hostel bunk, a hospital corridor, a long flight. You said the thing, and then you stood up and left it there, and the relief lasted a week. And then you went home to the people who have known you for 20 years, and told them the journey was fine. Back on the platform, the train is long gone. She walks to the car park carrying nothing, for the first time in years. And in the morning she will make breakfast for a man who loves her, entirely, as far as he knows.